Wednesday, March the 2nd. Um, what can I say about this workout except that it's a 16-minute AMRAP, and if you recall, the last time we did an AMRAP that long-ish was the Open, and or 22.1 specifically, and this is not much different than that. It's another triplet. It's got a gymnastics movement that's what we consider sort of a lower volume on a per round basis, like the wall walks. Um, and it's got some weightlifting in it, right? And some overhead. And the thing that's most like that 22.1 workout is that the key to this one is pace, because 16 minutes can be a really long time to be doing all of these things. So let's keep in mind that pacing is important. And then I think we learned that last week, excuse me. And because of that, the row should be something that you're not going all out, right? So that's the sort of the centerpiece of this workout, right in the middle of those two other sort of weightlifting / gymnastics movements is that sort of row that stays constant. So let's try to find a pace that's not our all-out pace on that, kind of like maybe like a 80-85% pace on the row. And then everything else, because we're pacing today, is break it up before you feel like you have to. That's especially true on the toes to bar, but let's talk about the other movement for a second. Kettlebell snatches. We haven't done them in a really long time. And one of the reasons for that is that, we always hear the feedback that, hey, it smashes into my forearm when I do the kettlebell snatch. And, we think it's a really valuable movement, but we don't love, that people find them to be challenging. They don't come up in the open, and so that shouldn't mean they're less valuable. But for whatever reason, we have shied away from programming them. Now we have these 2 weeks to sort of mess around with the typical format of a cycle, and lo and behold, we have kettlebell snatches. So that is another movement where even though you're going to do 8 on the right, 8 on the left, and do it from the hang, that you should break them up before you feel like you have to, if you feel like you're using a weight where you might go to failure at some point. The load today will be based on whether or not you feel comfortable with the movement after the coach instructs it. Now, based on that thing that I said about my forearm slams into the kettlebell, there is another video attached to this Beyond the Whiteboard plug that you should go check out if you are someone who is concerned about having bruising your forearms, which we don't want. That shouldn't be a part of the movement, and if you're doing it correctly, that won't happen. And we'll certainly go over that in class, but if you want to put some extra work in, definitely look at that video. So how much load is on that kettlebell is dependent upon how safe you feel doing the movement. It is ultimately a safe movement. It's it's a combination of a snatch and a kettlebell swing for the most part, but there are some technical aspects that you might struggle with if you've never done it before. All right, so even that movement where you're going to go lower load if you don't feel comfortable with it, break it up before you feel like you have to. It's still going to be 8 on the right, then 8 on the left. Pace the row, and again, with the toes to bar, or even if you're doing hanging knee raises, break it up if you think at some point you are in danger of going to failure. We don't want anybody going to failure at any point today. All right, we think everybody can get like 4+ rounds on this one, as long as you pace it correctly. If you have any questions, let us know.